Hey there, I'm Michael Traynor. I play Nicholas on The Walking Dead, and you are listening to Creech Questions. Fuck yeah.
Welcome back to Creech Questions, brought to you in part by The Dead Connection. I'm Chastity.
And I'm CJ. And in the background, you're listening to The Irma and Louise with the song East Virginia. You can listen to more of their music by checking out their website at www.theirmalouise.ch.
All right. So we have a couple things for you. If you haven't noticed already, this is going to be a two-parter because we have lots of great stuff for you guys today. Go ahead and tell them a little bit about it.
Well, today we've got a couple of things for you. We've got, yet again, the return of the Walking Dead wrap-up with featured Walker actress, Miss Alyssa Mulan. We are going to be talking in our opinions, who we think is going to die this season and who we think is going to live. And for our main event, we have Michael Traynor himself, as you've already heard at the beginning of this podcast, and he is going to absolutely entertain you for almost an hour non-stop, obviously in two parts, but it's an amazing listen, and I can't wait to get into it. So I think we should go ahead and do our shout-outs.
You give me a gift, bam, thank you note. You invite me somewhere, pow, RSVP. You do me a favor, wham, favor returned. Do not test my politeness.
Our first shout-out this week is going to be to our podcast guest himself, Mr. Michael Traynor. We had an absolute blast interviewing Michael, and me and him have been talking quite a bit this week, and I've told him plenty of times, he's definitely very welcome to come back on, and I guess you could say near future or anytime, really, but we've got a special little gift that we're putting together for him when we see him in about a week and a half in Boston that I think he's going to get a kick out of. I haven't told him what it is, and if he's listening, I'm still not going to mention what it is. He's just going to have to wait and see, but I think it's absolutely hilarious. It has something to do, hint, hint, with the podcast today, so if you pick it apart, you might be able to figure out what it is, but I'll never tell.
I'm pretty sure it's going to light up his day.
Oh. Maybe. I don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny the existence of it lighting up his day.
Fingers crossed. Alright, so my shout out goes to Jared Fritz. He is a very hard worker. He does a lot of health and fitness. He teaches. He wrestles. He's actually become a very great friend, and he is actually going to be guiding me through a 24-day challenge, which I will let you guys know how that goes.
And keep note, this is the second week Chastity has made a fitness-related shout-out, and yet I have not said anything fitness-wise. So I would like to thank and give a shout-out to Doritos as well, because they're delicious.
Nom nom.
Nom nom nom. Also, shout-out to Vitamix, who unfortunately didn't sponsor our podcast, but got some great plugs later on.
So CJ, like you said, you and Alyssa spoke. I was not a part of the conversation. I had some obligations. But you guys had a conversation. Go ahead and tell them about it.
Well, it wasn't just any conversation. It was the Walking Dead wrap-up, which we were really sad that you couldn't make it to. So before we even get to the official Walking Dead wrap-up segment, this podcast, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. So, who do you think is going to live? Who do you think is going to die in Season 6 of The Walking Dead?
So, the people I think that are going to unfortunately leave us this season is Rosita. I don't think she has... honestly, I don't think she has a huge place in the show as it is. She's not really a big character, but she's more like a tag-along. And I think that she's going to be, tagged out. I also think Eugene is going to go this season. I think we've seen a lot of growth in Eugene, and I think they're going to play it out for a while. But I think eventually in Season 6, he's going to go. And it saddens me to say it, but I think Glenn might be gone by the end of the season. Yeah. It's hard to say that because we all love Glenn so much, but I feel like it's a mutual feeling between, amongst a lot of people that Glenn's time is running out. So.
Okay, so who do you think is going to run the gauntlet? Who's going to live? Who's going to survive?
Well, the 3 people I think are going to survive is Carl. Because I think Carl is an intricate part still of the show. So I don't see them getting rid of him anytime soon. And in the comics, he's alive and well. Well, as well as he can be. And I think that Aaron will survive this season. Because I don't think they've played him enough yet. I don't think we've seen as much of Aaron as they want to show us. Or that we actually want to see. And then Abraham. I think Abraham actually will survive. I don't see him surviving very long in the season 7. But I do see him surviving season 6.
So as a spoiler to the next segment, Michael, if you're listening, unfortunately, me nor Alyssa, nor now Chastity, has chosen Nicholas to either die or live. So while we're not counting you out, looks like you're on your own to survive, but I think you can do it. I know you can.
You've handled your own so far.
You've got this. It is all Glenn's fault.
Don't say that. It is totally Nicholas's fault. Though we love you, Michael Traynor. Your character is a terrible person so far.
You know what? When you said that you think Glenn's going to die, and I think Michael Traynor has a little something to say about that a little bit later, but we are getting ahead of ourselves. So, without further ado, here is me and Alyssa with our picks on the Walking Dead wrap-up.
This is all connected. You show up, and now 3 of us are gone.
Why'd you bring us here?
So have you figured out your picks?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, there's only like one person that I haven't figured out that is driving me crazy because I've been really, really racking my brain here.
So was it easier to figure out who you thought was going to live, or was it easier to pick who you think was going to die?
I mean, it's easy to pick who I think's going to live, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I had a couple quick choices with deaths, so I think it's going to be how do you say the whole leader of Alexander? Is it Deanna or Deanna?
I think
Deanna,
it's,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I definitely think her because I think she's going to lose it, especially because we haven't seen how she handles like her husband's death, and I think they're going to axe Jesse. And then, yeah, that third one, I'm just like, I don't know. It could be anybody.
Yeah, I actually, originally, Deanna was in my picks. Up until probably about 10 minutes ago. Deanna was
really?
in my picks to die. But then I kind of switched it around. And I'm going to go for actually, almost a couple of wild cards. I'm preparing myself for big deaths. So I think Tara's gonna die.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and we, nobody knows anything about her fate from the comics because she wasn't in the comics. But I feel like there's not much. I don't know where they could go with her character at this point. I mean, I know she's recuperating and she woke up at the end of the last episode, but with them showing walkers attacking, it could very well, she could be taken out in the first episode. We don't even know.
That's true. I mean, Noah was taken out pretty darn fast.
Yeah.
I mean, no one saw that coming.
Yeah, and I mean, and not that I think that she'll be taken out because she's pregnant right now, because I mean, Sonequa filmed the entire last season pregnant, so I know they
Right.
can get around that, but I don't know. I have a feeling that Tara's going to be the one to go, and then the next two are big names that. I don't know. I just have a gut feeling that at least one of them's probably surely going to go, and the other one maybe. So, my next pick is going to be Morgan.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like even though the trailers are building up this confrontation, and like I said, we said last week we don't think it's actually going to lead towards that. I still foresee at some point, probably not the first half, probably near the end of the season, that. Morgan will probably die. And
Really?
yeah, I feel like, I mean, they've showed
I
him.
always thought, yeah.
Oh, what were you saying?
I said I always thought that, like, they might play it like how they do with Daryl, where Morgan, like, might become his own thing and be really popular, so they might hold on to him a little longer. You know what I mean? Because I think if Daryl wasn't as popular, you know what I mean? I think people wouldn't care if he went. But his fans have pushed him. I mean, and obviously Norman plays the part great. Obviously, that's why people are so entranced with Daryl Dixon.
Exactly, and I mean, just looking at it from a business standpoint, I mean, most of the merchandise that gets marketed is either has Daryl on it or talks about Daryl, so...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't foresee them, even though I want it to happen, I don't foresee Daryl dying until one of the very last seasons, when they know the end's in sight and that they're going to end the show. That's probably when they'll do it, because it won't affect their business at that much by that point.
Right, yeah.
But I have
You
a
know
feeling...
you know another name I juggled around, though?
What?
Was Abraham.
I almost put him on as well, yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I think he would be, like, a powerful, like, I mean, because he's such a powerful character, and he's so upfront and strong. And, I mean, he rivals Rick, obviously, as, you know, a strong leader. And I think if he was taken out, I think that might hit the group to say, like, okay, seriously, even these tough, strong people who are so capable of handling themselves can be just taken out like that, too. I think that would be kind of interesting.
I agree. And my wild card pick is Glenn.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm right there with you. There's just so many people that it's like, you see the possibility and then you're like, no, there's no way. And then you try and justify it to yourself.
Yeah, I mean...
But it's so hard.
Yeah, I mean... I'm assuming it's been a long time since we've lost a core survivor from the original group, that I just can't help but shake the feeling that we're going to at least lose one. So I nominated 2 for my death list, but I feel like Glenn, I mean, out of everybody else, he would be the... Not that he doesn't have a strong fan base or he's an important character, but he would be the one I would think would probably affect the most people right now, and yet still not be a Rick or a Carol or a Daryl or anything like that.
All right, yeah. Very well could be.
So those are my 3 choices. So those are my 3 choices, which of course we will revisit these at, I guess, the mid-season and the season finale to see if how close we were. Now, who do you think's gonna survive it all and come through, I guess, relatively unscathed?
Ooh, I mean, I feel like maybe Maggie is in the clear. I mean, she seems to be doing all right.
Yeah.
We didn't really get to see too much of her in the last half, right? I feel like she was relatively quiet.
She was apparently doing, I guess, congressional stuff and things.
Yeah, right. She's got her own things now.
And Maggie was actually one of my picks as well, because like you said, yeah, I feel like she's, I mean, I don't know. I feel like she's pretty safe, and that obviously if something were to happen to Deanna, who is one of your choices, I feel like since Maggie's been working under her, that would be a opportunity for her to step up and become an even bigger player into the whole Alexandria community.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would really like to see Maggie in that light, because I think she's been so down lately, for obvious reasons, but
Yeah.
I would like to see her rise up and be even stronger than she already is.
Exactly, and since The Walking Dead does have a very good history of having women in strong leadership roles, I mean, Maggie would be a perfect fit for the leader of Alexandria.
Right. And can I give credit where credit is due? Because I feel like Sasha is going to step up a lot. I feel like we haven't really talked a lot about her. But, I mean, I think she's really going to be super powerful this season as well.
I definitely agree. As you remember, we had Sonequa on the show, and you've actually worked with her, I at least know, because at Terminus. And she's an absolute sweetheart, and I liked what they were doing with her character, with almost basically having PTSD at the end of this past season. And it looked like on the very last episode she was starting to slowly come out of it. I really think, I think we talked about it on one of the previous episodes, I really think that she's going to basically become like the comic Andrea, and I'm completely fine with that, because I know she could kill that role, no pun intended.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I thought the same thing, especially when she starts with her little sniper up in the tower. It's like, that's when you know, you're like, yep, I see little hints of Andrea, comic Andrea there. And I'm totally okay with that because she is so awesome.
Yeah, and she's definitely one badass chick in a group of badass chicks.
Yeah, no kidding. They're lucky. Rick thinks he's strong, but man, those women, they hold it together.
They really do, and they've saved Rick more times than he probably can even count at this point. My second pick, I think, is going to be Eugene.
You think he's going to come through it pretty good?
Yeah, I think he's going to, he may get some bumps and bruises as his character usually does, but I think he's going to be relatively safe.
Yeah, he is pretty protected. I mean, they're like his force field. He kind of just lets everybody else do it, and he just hides behind everybody.
Yeah, and he has his own he's basically bodyguarded by everybody else. But he is smart, and he is useful. So I feel like he will be well protected, and he'll at least live to see season 7.
Yeah, I think so too. He'll be of use in some way. I know it. I feel it. So I guess we just have to see.
Exactly. Who was your second pick? Was it Eugene as well?
Yeah, man. I would have to go with it. There's just so many characters that I have to just think, and I go back so far. I think of, how long we've known them and all the stuff they've been through, and I try and base it off that, too, who would hit the group the hardest to lose, and, so much.
All right, and I think the third one I've been kind of I've been iffy on. Because one, I do think Sasha's gonna survive throughout this season, but I think for my third pick, I'm gonna go with, since we've both talked about thinking that a bunch of the Alexandrians are gonna die, I'm gonna go with Aaron to survive the entire season 6 as well.
Yep, yeah. I definitely think so. He might even just lose Eric. He might come through to be...
Yeah, relationships don't end too well on The Walking Dead.
No, they definitely don't.
And Jordan's a great guy, but yeah, I feel like it's very possible Eric could die. I know Aaron's quickly became a fan favorite on the show. And, you know, everybody was kind of wary of him at first, but they grew, I think, mainly because of his interactions with Daryl. He grew into a fan favorite, and I think he was only in 4 episodes. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no kidding. And was Eric all healed up at the end of last season? Because I know he was hurt for a little bit. Like, was he completely okay? Because I'm just thinking, like, if this place gets overrun, is he still in that position? It's kind of like Tara, where they're kind of still recuperating. So he could be in more danger because of that. But I can't really remember.
That is very true. I don't know. I know, obviously he got the tire rolled onto his foot, and he was limping. I don't know if they officially, I mean, because he ate spaghetti with Daryl in them, and it was, I believe that might have been was that the last time we saw Eric last season? 'Cause I don't recall.
I'm thinking so.
Unless he was at that meeting with everybody, but I can't quite remember if he was, where Rick shot Pete.
Yeah. See, I'm thinking the last time was like the spaghetti dinner.
Yeah, Jordan kind of just was blending into the background, just like Seth Gilliam did for a couple of episodes, when everybody thought Father Gabriel just kind of left, but he was just like in the very back, just chilling.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's so true, because now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he didn't even come up in question in my mind because he blended in. So now I'm thinking, oh my god, now I remember how much I hate him. And now I'm like, now he fills that third slot. Thank you. He can go. I want him to die.
All right, I think you and the rest of America would definitely... I don't think I've met anybody that's a Father Gabriel fan.
I mean, I started to like the dude, but man, yeah, he made some horrible choices, so...
Oh, yeah, when I was letting Chastity watch it, at first she was like, I feel like there's something wrong with this guy, but I'm not 100% sure. And I'm like, just wait. You're not gonna like this guy. You're gonna hate this guy so much. And she's like, oh well, no. I mean, he's weird, and I feel uneasy about him, but I don't hate him. And then when he basically threw Rick and the gang under the bus, she just looked straight at me and she's like, I freaking hate this guy.
Yeah, you're like, see, I told you so.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like just to egg the fans on that they probably won't kill him. They're going to make you want to see him die. They'll probably even put him in perilous positions. So it's like, oh yes, Father Gabriel's going to get it. And then, here comes somebody to save him. And you're going to be like, not again.
Right. See, but then I think of it and I'm like, what kind of potential does he have, though, as a character? Like, where could he go and where could he fit into the group, basically, is what I'm kind of saying, because I just haven't seen anything from him that would show me that he deserves to be there.
Well, he does have magical, I guess you could say, bounty or Mr. Clean powers, because, I don't know if you remember, I believe it was the very last episode, when he went out with his clean white shirt and then bashed that zombie's head in and came back with not a single drop of blood on his shirt. So maybe he is going to have some kind of cleaning powers that he will use to clean the Alexandrians' clothes.
That is so funny. I guess I didn't even notice that, but yeah. Wow, that's really funny.
Yeah, I know.
That was a little blurb on there, wasn't it? They're probably like, oh my gosh, people noticed.
Yeah, the film critic in me, sometimes I pick up on those things for continuity, and I'm just like, wait a minute, he just killed that zombie, and there is not a single drop of blood.
Yeah, I call BS.
Yes, if anything, that shirt was cleaner when he came back than it was when he left.
He stopped by the river and got clean.
Exactly. He cleaned and press-dried it and everything.
Yep.
I'll be very interested to see at the mid-season and at the season finale just how completely right or completely wrong we were.
I think it's probably going to be more completely wrong. I mean, I'm usually never right. I never see it coming.
Yeah, we're probably everybody we just listed the opposite's gonna happen. Everybody we listed to live's gonna die, and everybody we listed to die is gonna live.
You go. Wouldn't that be something?
Okay, welcome back. Now it is time for the third wrestling-related term we're using. Actually, the second time I've used this in the podcast. It is our main event. And this is the interview that you are not going to want to miss. We've been promoting it heavily throughout this week, both me, Chastity, Michael, and some of our fans. And this is a hilarious and awesome and a bunch of other great words that I can't even begin to put together in my head to describe this. You're not going to want to miss a second of this, so we're going to get ready to get into it. I know Chastity's been getting emails all week about what was said on this podcast.
Yes. My Twitter, my Facebook. People are really, really pumped about it. And even Michael Traynor himself is pretty pumped. I think we all three just thoroughly enjoyed every single second of that. And I'm excited to listen to it again because I always listen to the podcast after it's all finished and done and said with. I'm excited to hear it again. I mean, it just thinking about the conversation lights me up. It puts a smile on my face. It makes me want to laugh. And I've never thought of so many hashtags and house appliances ever, like at one time. So I hope you guys enjoy this just as much as we did, and I think as much as Michael did too.
Hey, this is Michael Traynor.
Hey, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. How are you?
I am pretty good. Glad to finally be where we could make some time where we could do the podcast.
Yeah, totally. Between, scheduling and a bit of a battle with sickness, it took me a while, but we are here. It is going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome, and I am here with my co-host, Chastity.
Hi, Michael.
Hey. Hi, Chastity. Is it Chastity or Chastity?
Chastity. It's okay, though. Everyone asks me that.
Oh. Well, nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
We've got a bunch of questions. Your fans are very passionate.
My fans. Well, I love the four of them, and my mom. I think that they're all great.
Awesome. And, well, they must have many Twitter accounts then.
They do. My mom alone has like 30. She spends nothing, all of her time is spent on Twitter. Mainly talking shit about Nicholas, but beyond that,
That is always a good thing. And we got some great questions about Nicholas as well that were pretty funny.
Yeah, sure. Shoot. Go ahead. Let's do the barrage of Nicholas questions.
Okay.
Hashtag Nicholas Q&A awesomeness. Right there. There it is.
Exactly. That's what we'll use to actually promote the podcast. Right there.
Good.
All right. Well, the first question I've got is at Jada, and she was wanting to know, at the time of Aiden's death, how close do you think Aiden and Nicholas were?
At the time of Aiden's death, I think Nicholas and Aiden were about 3 feet apart. 3 or 4 feet apart. As far as actual closeness goes. I do think the arrival of Rick and the gang sort of put a spotlight on their past blunders, their mishaps out in the field. Of course, their own cowardice is what caused the death of some of their Alexandrian compatriots. So I think, like anything, when you have something in a friendship, a secret that's buried, when it's brought to light again, there's issues of blame, there's issues of reconsidering what happened. Of course, the guilt that's sort of slowly snaking through both Aiden and Nicholas's soul, I think, probably drove a bit of a wedge through their broship that existed before the introduction of Glenn and Rick and Michonne and Daryl. So yeah, I think they were closer beforehand, but they weren't on. They weren't as close as they had been.
Okay.
How's that for a succinct answer? Rambling.
It was thorough. It was very thorough. I have a pretty hilarious question from a fan. His name's Jacob Lockie. He said, how much of a wimp did you feel after Glenn won the fight, even after you shot him in the shoulder?
Well, I mean, not such a wimp, because Glenn has a fierce right hook. So, considering his strangely genetically modified superhuman right hook, I felt as wimpy as when I shot him. No wimpier. Sort of an equal level of wimpdom is what Nicholas was experiencing. Glenn's a bit of a badass mofo. So, I felt what I should have done to kind of even the playing field was shoot him in the arm, and then maybe kneecap him as well, and then Nicholas would have had a fighting chance with a one-armed gimpy Glenn versus a fully able-bodied Nicholas.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah. we don't know. Maybe that might happen in season 6.
Uh-oh, shit, my first spoiler. I have AMC Legal right here behind me. AMC Legal, consisting of 3 lawyers and 2 walkers. They're real, guys. The walkers are real. The walkers are real.
Now, the next question is from @Anne's World. She wanted to know, what was your initial reaction when you got the role of Nicholas, obviously in The Walking Dead?
It's funny. I'm sure, everybody has a funny little Walking Dead casting story. Mine was, I really didn't know what the role was. You audition with these fake sides. The sides are like a snippet of a script, like scenes to audition with, that sort of speak to the qualities of the character, but aren't actually from any of the scripts you would eventually do. And I had just auditioned for a slew of characters, so I wasn't even sure what Nicholas was or anything. I just kind of hopped on a plane, and when I got there, my first scene was when I opened the gates and let the whole gang into Alexandria, and Scott Gimple very quickly goes, "Oh, hey, let's talk for 3 minutes and let me explain everything about your character." And so that was it. And so after those 3 minutes, I was very excited. But and I was excited to get there, and it was all sort of a bit of a dream because I was a fan of the show. And it's so rare you get to be on a show that you're a fan of, and that is so awesome to do. So Nicholas was a bit of a mystery to me, and continued to be until the end of season 5. I had no idea who he was or what he was doing. So every script was both exciting as far as who is this guy, what are the other colors of him? Is he going to be continuing to be a coward? Is he going to attack? Is he going to cause total civil unrest? So it's exciting in that way that you get a job on this show, and it continues literally to evolve episode to episode. So long answer was that. Short answer was, dude, I was fucking stoked.
Nice.
Yeah. Can I cuss? Well, I just have cussed. So you can either bleep me out or make a fart noise.
No, we won't censor you.
Okay, great. Okay. It'd be funny if Michael Traynor, strangely flatulent during conversation.
That would be interesting. Or just put a random animal noise.
Exactly, yeah. Dude, he was an okay conversationalist, but he got kind of bestial, and it was weird.
It's just you're talking, and then you just hear a random moo.
A moo. I'm going to get a fucking cow? I'm going to get a cow, I'm going to get a wolf howl, a strange, bird of prey screech. I just got man, there wasn't moo. Glenn was mooing on my face with his fist, and I was moo. That's the worst conversation ever. I'm hanging up. Just kidding.
Oh my goodness. All right, so Allie Dunnicliffe said, who is the most fun actor or actress you work with?
Everyone is, and these aren't just like political answers. It's just the God honest truth. Is that everyone's so great, and normally by season 5, like there's on most TV shows by season 5, there's like cast rivalries, and people are tired of everybody. But I feel that this show, the fact that like they spend episodes apart, and then also there's the threat of everyone dying every episode, so sort of like this like real sense of gratitude that pervades the entire cast. Everyone's really fun and has a good sense of humor about the job and about the work they do. That being said, Ross Marquand was he had gone on like an episode or two before I arrived there, and so we were sort of the newish kids and bonded and joked around a lot. And he's wicked funny, super fast, wit. And also a very speedy runner, I'm guessing. I don't know. I've never seen him run. So I enjoyed working with Ross on the downtime. And then Steven Yeun, who I'd spent a lot of my time with on set, is great. Real dry, real sly humor. We were both very serious because none of our scenes were really jokey. There was that musical number they cut out of episode 16. But there wasn't actually a musical number. Anybody don't tweet at Scott Gimple saying, "Hey, release the musical number of the DVD." But yeah, like Steven and I, we'd get there and we'd make sure our scene and that the beats and everything was on lockdown, that we were like on seeing eye to eye with the director, and then they were like, we'd start having a little bit of fun, and so that was really great. I really appreciated his sense of duty to the work. And then also his ability to kind of like, hey, we're beating the shit out of each other in the forest. Isn't this kind of fun? And I'm like, yeah, it is.
And I've got at Samantha Bowman asks, what's the best part about playing a bad guy on The Walking Dead? And do fans ever forget that it's a role and treat you like a bad guy in real life?
The bad guy, I mean, I prefer to say colossally misunderstood hero, just so we're clear on that part.
Duly noted.
Yes. Thank you. Perhaps we could figure out an acronym that's classier and takes less time. But it's so fun. Like I said, the role evolved I thought for sure I'd be like on for 2 episodes and done. I was like, this guy is like totally, he's fucking Walker meat. He's just waiting to be chomped on. So as it evolved and the level of duplicity and him, covering his tracks and sort of doubling down on the lie after Noah died with Deanne and everybody, it just became sort of glorious, sort of so much fun to do. Like being a fan of the show, having followed the show both during the live broadcast on Twitter and all that jazz, the second you go against Glenn, there's going to be a huge uproar. And then, when I shot Glenn, I was like, oh man, we're going to break Twitter. So it's just so much fun to play the bad guy. And you then have the acting trick of trying to justify and make the best case for this kid. You don't want to make him some sort of mustache twirling, melodrama villain. You want to have some level of complexity, some sense of where he's coming from, why he's doing what he's doing. Does he believe what he's doing at all is actually good, or is he totally aware that he's just being an asshat? So it was really fun to do. I really enjoyed playing this villain. I hadn't had a chance to do it in film or TV, only like back on stage and stuff. And it's always a more exciting challenge. Second part of the question, and yeah, I know I gotta have shorter answers. I'll work on that. Second part of the question is, do fans ever mistake? Yeah, totally. I've gone to a few conventions so far, and there's always a few people who kind of lurk just outside the orbit of my booth or my table, whatever, and kind of stare me down like somebody who, beat up their sister, and they're looking to kind of get at me. This one guy, I was down in Nashville, and he came up to me finally after hanging out in front of my booth on and off all day. Just he was dragging his kid along. He's like, "Man, I fucking hate you. Sign my child." And then he had me like sign his kid's arm. And so that was it. That was a fan who did not have a real good understanding of the difference between reality and narrative fiction.
That is that sounds pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, no, I got to tattoo a child, which I don't even think is legal in that state. But whatever, boom, I'm a celebrity, baller life. Yeah.
All right, that is going to end it for part one of this awesome, hilarious, entertaining, other big words that I don't even know the meanings for or how to pronounce right now, interview / get together / chat session, whatever you want to call it, with the awesome Michael Traynor. Make sure you check out the rest of this interview in part 2, and we will see you there.
See you then.
Hey y'all, this is Lou Temple. Rick Nicotero.
Patty Miller.
T-Love.
This is Eric Jensen.
Emma Bell.
Big Chen for Vincent M. Ward. Jeff Cobra. Jose Pablo Cantillo. Danny Robot. Lawrence Gilliard Jr. Nestor Carbonaro. Parano. Daniel Thomas May. Ellen Moss.
Sarah Wayne Callies.
Chad Coleman.
I'm RJ May from Breaking Bad. Bates Gonzalez.
AMC's Comic Book Man.
The Walking Dead, and you're listening to Creech Questions.
You better listen up good or I'm come get you.
Hey everyone out there, this is CJ Creech, and you too can listen to our celebrity interviews on our podcast, Creech Questions. Check us out on CreechCreativeProductions.com and Facebook.com/CreechCreativeProductions.